at the end of the day, any conflict that we have, we're on the same team, right? We own this brand together. We both want this to work. So whatever it is that we need to get through, it's the same. We have the same common goal.
All right, welcome to the Restaurantology podcast, ladies.
Hi. Thank you.
Hi.
We're excited.
I'm so excited. This is like 2 years late, though, right? We should have done that. Oh, wait a second. I didn't really have a podcast back then. So. I'm excited to have both my partners here from Saigon Hustle. One of the coolest brands in America that they don't know about yet. They're going to know, though. Mm-hmm. Oh, and they're going to know in a fast order, right? Mm-hmm. Because we're on store number 2 with stores number 3 to 1,000 quickly becoming a reality. Is that true?
True.
It's a true statement.
We're
feeling good about it.
It's happening.
But I think that before we even jump into how cool the two of you are and how cool our brand is, your brand. I'm going to say your brand still because I'm still kind of like on the coattails or jacket tails of you guys. But let's go back for a bit and to say, how did you even start Saigon Hustle and what is Saigon Hustle for the listeners? And then we're going to dig in even more to the actual brand. So Saigon Hustle, tell us the story.
Yeah, I think, Sandy and I have been friends since college. We've had our own careers, stayed friends, talking private equity, accounting, big firms, different things. And we had kids and families and our life changed, our priorities changed, but yet we didn't want to stop the hustle. So one day Sandy called. She knew I was a little complacent in life, meaning I had 6 other, operating businesses going, but on autopilot. And she's like, let's do something. And I was like, what? And she's like, let's open a restaurant. I was like, hell no.
She said it exactly like that too. She said, hell no.
What? There's so many other things you can do in life. Why would you want to open up a restaurant? I was like, we're really talented people. We've been through the ringer, including restaurants, right? Yes. And then she's like, look, I want to do Vietnamese food. I want to make it convenient. And I was like, Sandy, look, if we do something, it better be big. Something we can scale. In my mind, coming from private equity, something we can exit out of.
Yep.
Yeah. And so we threw a few concepts on the wall and Saigon kind of just hit it off.
And you had to keep the hustle word in there.
Of course. Mm-hmm. We've been hustling all our lives.
And the thing that I will say that I am totally impressed with is that you both are moms. You said we had families. You guys have these darling families. You have how many kids?
I have 4 boys.
Cassie has 4 boys, and you have?
I have 3 boys.
3 boys. So you guys.
And no, it's not a competition.
Yeah. No, but you guys have helped the world with boys. So have I. I only have 2, though. But we have helped the world with men, have we not? And the boys are so cute, but they are active, aren't they? Boys are active.
Oh, they're very active.
And
yes.
so when I had asked you guys earlier, when we first met, like, why Saigon Hustle? Like, we're mothers of a bunch of boys. We got to hustle every day
we do.
To make it work, right? Mm-hmm. And the thing that's really impressive is not only are you guys entrepreneurs, but you guys are operators too. Sometimes people are like, I'm an entrepreneur, and you open up a business, you give them money, and you have someone else operate it for you. You had said before this, you had a couple businesses that were already open, operating. They were kind of on autopilot. Mm-hmm. But this one, it's been really impressive to watch you guys are in it, right? Like every day. Sandy, you're like in this every day. When I talk to you or I'm in town and I walk in on you like I did the last time.
Yeah, I was
like you guys are like working. You're like,
Andrew's here.
Oh, Andrew's right here. But you're like in the business every day.
We are.
And you love it.
We love it.
What's the part that you love about it the most now that you're in the food and beverage industry? Because you're like, oh, hell no. And by the way, when I was a technologist and Shauna came to me and said, hey, I think we should open a restaurant, I'm like, oh, hell no. I said the same thing. So I think it's just a natural response.
It is.
Because you're like, no, they all fail and they don't make money. And I'm going to work until, I'm dead. And it's not true, really, right?
Yeah. I've been in hospitality since I was like 15. My first job was Chuck E. Cheese. And I think you just fall in love with the people and the aspect of like serving others good things. It's almost instant gratification in a way.
It totally is.
And
it's
so
an endorphin kick, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. It really is. And so, I think Cassie could probably attest to that too, in the sense that like when she cooks amazing food, I'm like, oh my God, I love it. And it's that interaction that I think we're just addicted to. It's making people feel good and making people feel happy over food.
Yeah. Did you guys think about doing something different than Vietnamese food, or was it always that? In your mind, you're like, let's do something together, and it's that? Or did you guys kick around 4 or 5 different ideas?
I mean, we threw we kicked around 2 ideas and we threw them both on the wall right before COVID, signed the leases. We did the coffee shop. We did Saigon Hustle side by side. But Saigon's special.
It's very special.
Yeah.
And where is it located right now, the first one?
In Garden Oaks, Oak Forest area in Houston.
In Houston. Mm-hmm. And you guys opened it. When was the first one open? The actual opening day?
February. I want to say February 8th.
Of 2021? Mm-hmm. 2021.
2022.
It was 2022. Mm-hmm. 2021, that was still a tough time.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
2022.
We were delayed, obviously, because of COVID, even though
sure.
we had started prior to that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It took that long just to get everything up and going.
Yeah, and it's a single location with a drive-thru on it, right? No seating inside.
Nope.
And that's what you guys decided to do is, like, let's have some seats outside if people want to sit down. It's going to be a drive-thru only. How did it take off right immediately, right when people saw that it was Vietnamese drive-thru? How did it hit?
It kicked off immediately. And I think what that stems from is the fact that during COVID, so imagine we signed the lease January 2020, COVID hits March 2020, we sat idle for a while. And so we went in, we signed a cloud kitchen, we tested the recipes, the menu, the timing, and we used that downtime during COVID to not only test everything, but to sell. Because we did it through the apps, through Uber Eats and DoorDash. So we began our marketing program during COVID. People knew about Saigon Hustle during COVID. Although we didn't have a brick and mortar, we were serving the food.
And we were doing farmers markets at the time too. So every weekend we would go out to the farmers markets and sell. And we would sell out. And it would be in Bel Air City. And people loved it. I mean, we got such a great reaction. I think that's the fun part is when you get to meet people and sell in person versus obviously a cloud kitchen. And that they just were really receptive to it. And so when they heard that we were opening up a location, they were excited.
They kind of flooded to it immediately.
Yeah.
It was already excitement.
Yeah, there was a lot of excitement. We talked numbers and different things with even the savory team. It's like, well, how long do you think it'll take you to get here? And I'm like, day one. Like we didn't have to have ramp up time in the store, in the first store. So I was like, it was hot from day one. It's not like you're like trying to like collect customers and build a database. They just come. And so we were very fortunate, but I think it took all the things that we did to make that happen.
And I think for us too, the real estate obviously is key for us. It's location.
Yeah, it is.
So our first location, we just knew that like it had to be a busy intersection. And I think Garden Oaks is definitely underserved in that market in food and in ethnic food.
Yeah.
So with two of those things combined and the traffic just alone on Ella,
It's
where
so
we're at.
busy right there on Ella.
I mean, you cannot miss Saigon Hustle because we're a hard corner. It's a very unique building, which we absolutely love. Like, I don't want to be in a strip center. I want to be in something unique if we can. And people commend us for keeping the original structure of the building. And it's really an art piece almost,
It's a total art piece. It's in a place that's being regentrified. And I think that in America, there's a lot of regentrification happening. And when you can get that and get cool concepts in that regentrification, it's like music. It just is perfect, if you ask me.
Without tearing it down.
Without tearing it down, yeah. So I have a brand in our portfolio that you guys know about. It's called Mobetas. And it was interesting to me as we would go into new markets or new cities, we would say, well, it's Hawaiian food. And they'd be like, oh, Hawaiian. And like they'd be almost a little scared of it. And they're like, what's Hawaiian food? Hawaiian food, right? And people didn't know what the food was. And it's proteins and rice and mac salad, right? I mean, it's very simple.
Approachable.
Very approachable.
Yeah.
The thing about Saigon Hustle that I was so impressed with is like, wow, Vietnamese food that's extremely approachable. Was that core to what you guys thought? Like, we have to do this in a way that I would walk up to it and go, ooh, I can eat that because that looks really good and I get it. Is that what you guys tried to accomplish at the very beginning?
From the very beginning. Back to like even the first question, Sandy really wanted Vietnamese food. She's like, it's something I want to do. I want to bring it back. She opened up a restaurant in her 20s. Didn't work out. You know, these are the life lessons and things we learned. That's why I said, hell no. But she was like, let's do it.
It's a little bit longer too that time. Hey.
Yeah. No. But when we really put together the menu, we realized how simple it really was. And how many different ways you can use the same ingredients to get different flavors and different textures and, different ways of eating Vietnamese food, which is all very authentic still. So for me, being the chef side, I just did not want to compromise. And you think I don't know, there's Chinese American food and sweet and sour sauce can go many different ways.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's no, we are truly authentic Vietnamese food. All the ingredients we use is what I use in my house, what my grandmother uses, what my mom uses, what her mom uses. And so, and actually not realizing how approachable it was at the time when we did it until we started to do it in the masses of the drive-thru and different things. I didn't really realize how approachable it was at the time.
And initially, there were a lot of questions, when they would come through, they'd go, well, what is that type of a noodle? Or was there an education process with the customer quite a bit at the beginning?
I think we've been pretty lucky in the sense that because we live in Houston and we're a melting pot of cultures,
it's a total
we
melting
don't
pot.
really get that many, but it's really amazing because sometimes we do, and we do have to educate, or they'll come in thinking hey, can I get pad thai?
Yeah.
And it's that's, we're Vietnamese
That's
food,
Thai food.
That's Thai
We're
food.
Vietnamese.
Yeah. And so it's fine, but it's great.
It's an education.
It's an education moment, and we absolutely love that. I think we were in one of the news articles, and there was an elderly couple right when we opened. I think it was our first week, and they had clipped out the newspaper article of a vermicelli bowl, and they took it to the counter and they said, "We want this. We don't know what this is, but we want that.
But it looks great.
But it looks great." And I'm like, "You want a noodle bowl, a vermicelli bowl?" I was like, "Sure." It was the cutest thing. So moments like that, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's
awesome.
amazing."
Yeah, so tell the listeners if they're like, I think I know what it is, but what is it? Tell us what the top sellers are, and then what the actual flavor profile would be similar to.
It is as simple as the menu is you pick your base. So you have rice, vermicelli, which is a rice noodle, banh mi, spring roll, and a salad. I mean, everyone knows what a salad is. Yep. Everyone knows what rice in a salad is. Everyone knows what a noodle salad is. Anyone knows what a hoagie or a
French bread baguette, really.
A French bread baguette. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's our banh mi. So there's that base that's familiar enough, and then you have your proteins. Pork, chicken, beef, salmon, and tofu. And some people are kind of like, tofu? Well, there's so many vegetarians, so many vegans out there, so many gluten-frees, that we cater to that now.
Yeah, you check the box for all of them.
We do. We check all the boxes. And so you do that. You pick your protein, you pick your base. The flavor profiling is salty, sweet, citrusy, spicy, garlicky.
I think that's the beauty of it, because you don't feel lethargic after you eat. You don't have this sleepy feeling afterwards. You still feel light, and it's easy to eat. And so I think that's what's amazing about our food.
Yeah, I think that there's an evolution right now in the industry of just better for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily healthy, because I think a lot of times people go eat at healthy restaurants. They leave and go, I'm glad I just ate healthy. Now I need a piece of pizza to balance that out, because I feel like I'm hungry still, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like when I ate the first few times before I even met you guys, I ate it. I was like, oh my gosh, I feel great. I'm still full, but I don't feel like I have to go take a nap.
Yeah.
It's not super heavy. And
it's not
incredible.
Greasy either.
And, it's not greasy, but so flavorful too.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you think flavor has to be a lot of stuff, and it's so flavorful but so light. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
For people that would go through there?
Yeah.
And then the top sellers, just so people know, if they're going to go try it out, just say, you got to try probably a banh mi. I mean, it's pretty amazing. What else?
The pork is a Vietnamese staple of it's a poor protein back home. So they eat a lot of pork. So pork has been what is the number one protein in Vietnamese food. Pork banh mi, pork vermicelli, chicken rice bowl. Our spring rolls are top sellers now because you can't get it out of a drive-thru anywhere. Yeah.
Man, that was in stereo. You were both on sides. Yeah, that was incredible. Anywhere.
Well, in college, literally, that's all I would eat in college is spring rolls at this one sandwich shop, and that would put me through all the days.
Yeah.
And it was easy and light. And I'm like, if I can get that to the drive-thru, that's golden.
It's golden. Well, and the thing is that if you think about drive-thrus, typically drive-thrus, they're always correlated with unhealthy, right? Unhealthy, heavy, greasy, and it is just so opposite that. And so I think that there's really an opportunity in the industry for more options. I mean, listen, we hope that Saigon peppers the earth and nobody else can do what we do, but it would be nice if there was more options like that anywhere, right? But you just think about it, there's just not options. And a lot of times you'll have drive-thrus on like a bakery and cafe. It's like, well, that's not necessarily healthy either, right? It's just not healthy food.
Yeah.
Would you say that you kind of fall into the healthy category though, without calling yourselves healthy? It's probably better for you.
Better for you.
Better for
I like
you,
that.
probably.
Better for you.
Yeah. I like it too. It sounds good, huh?
It sounds good.
Should we say that then from now on? We are better for you.
You know, what really stemmed the whole drive-through thing was our kids. Like, our kids were always sleeping in the car. And so we're like, what else can we get besides Chick-fil-A and Taco Bell and Starbucks?
It was a selfish ask on her part.
It was like, if I could get Vietnamese through the drive-thru, I'd be there every day.
That was the phone call. Can you get me Vietnamese food through a drive-thru? Hell
no. No, but your kids, they still like themselves a chicken nugget, don't they?
They do,
okay.
Of course.
Who doesn't like that occasionally?
Course. But you know,
you try to eat that, mix it in with some of this.
We're trying to do better for you, right?
That's right.
So
yeah, I got you. Okay, so let's talk about some of the challenges. You open the first one. Let's be completely honest and open about what was the biggest challenge the first year of operations of just figuring this all out. Brand new concepts. I mean, I got to be honest with you. You guys have done something that most people can't do, and that is have the courage, number one. Open it up, number two. That's hard to just get it open. But number three, then operate it to success. What part of that whole journey was probably the hardest for you? And what would you tell another operator that's thinking about, I'm going to go start a business? What was the hardest part for you?
We opened 2 different concepts at the same time. And we just really gravitated towards Saigon, being how simple it was versus our cafe that bakes, that has a menu 5 times the size of Saigon's. We work 10 times harder over there, and we come over in Saigon. It's simplified. It's simple for us. The toughest part for us is the space that we have. So I think that is what makes Sandy and I so different in this industry, especially with the first store, was to do what we do in 850 square feet. The revenue, the catering, all that we do it's impressive. We stack, we unload, we make fresh daily because we have to, sometimes twice a day. So that's what keeps us, thriving in this spot. And
850
I know.
square feet.
It is literally, we feel like New York in there. That's what it feels like.
You totally are in New York.
And the ceilings are low on top of that, so we don't even get like a height advantage because it's a container.
It's a container.
So that's another challenge in itself, is the container is not necessarily, saving on cost.
Yeah. So it's simple, but it's tight. And so that's tough also operationally. You've had to figure that out.
The first year we had to figure it out. It was a hot mess back there. You can't see what happens, which is kind of nice too, that we are drive-through, we are limited customer facing, which is counter service. But it was messy back there. We didn't know how to navigate. I was very focused on pushing, getting the orders done, getting them fulfilled. Whatever happened, and so we brought in a good team. The first 3 months are always the toughest when you're opening a new concept. People don't know about you. You're hiring a C-D team, people who aren't ready for this or don't have the right work ethics, poor attitude, all these things. And so we're chewing through people until we find the right team. Plus we're in a small space. So it was pretty, painful in the beginning for us, but we kept our head up and we kept serving and we kept getting new people, and we brought back some old team members that Sandy used to work with that we trust, and made a world of a difference. And they put in processes in place. It's very hard to have processes in 850 square feet. Where do you put things when there's no space for it? So we created that, which makes us excited to get into the next one.
Yeah. So talk about the next one, Sandy. Where are we at? Where are we going?
Oh my goodness. We're so excited about the next one.
It's so exciting.
because it's double the space.
She goes immediately to space. We got twice the amount of space.
I mean, not only is it double the space, but we managed to emulate kind of Saigon 1 today.
You totally did. It's amazing.
Replicate it into another amazing space that we can basically salvage the building.
Yeah.
The building is so retro.
The architecture is really, it almost feels like you're on the main street at Disneyland.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Like just like the architecture
it looks like
of that
the
building.
cars.
The
cars.
That's what I was thinking in my head.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
It is very cool.
So we have double the space, and it's what part of Houston?
It is Spring Branch.
Spring Branch. So
which is
looking for
where I grew up and where we both kind of live now.
We live in Spring Branch.
Yep.
Our kids go to Spring Branch ISD, Independent School District. So it's
bound to be a success now. Because all of your neighbors have to go, or you're not going to be friends with
And
your
we're
neighbors.
like located centrally to all the soccer fields, so every soccer mom is going to be driving by.
They're going to get rid of the fruit roll up, and they're going to give them some spring rolls.
yeah.
You're like,
Yes, exactly. I like that. That's a good analogy of fruit roll up because ours is like wrapped in.
That's what I was thinking.
I mean, Spring Branch it's going to have high expectations, even for us, because they're going to be people that we know.
Yeah,
and
sure.
I don't want to let them down. So
The
pressure is on, even more so.
On.
Yeah.
But this will be interesting because we've never had dine-in before. So really excited to see what that will bring. And then we're adding pho on the menu, which is so exciting because there's so many times I want to get pho through the drive-thru and you have to physically go in. I mean, it's just a thing.
So let's talk real quick about the store number 2. So Savory did a little thing during 2020, which was the $1 million launch. And it was an idea that we had, my partners and I, of just helping a brand that's going from, single unit to number 2 or number 3. And we had about 320 people apply for it. But there was a brand that the team had been enamored by, and it was called Saigon Hustle. And so they reached out and said, you really should apply for this. We had a committee that went through all the brands, and it got down to, I think, 6 or 7 brands, right? Is that what we told you? I can't remember.
4. You said 4.
Oh, it was 4. Okay,
The 4 finalists.
So, 4 finalists. That's right.
4 finalists.
Thank you for
I can't forget
Feels
that.
like a while. Yeah, you probably could not.
It's like 4 finalists.
So we were close on another one that was a very interesting concept as well, but we could not get out of our head the idea of partnering on something that was just so unique in a segment that had not been tapped yet. Like, nobody really has done what you're doing, right? And most places that sell or provide a Vietnamese concept or food fair, it's really a sit down, right? Like, you walk in, you have a host, you're going to sit down, you have tableside service, and they're sporadic, right? There's not a lot of them. And so we thought, people like this type of food, they just can't get to it very easy, or they don't know where to go for it. So we liked that about it. But what we really liked more than anything about it was the two of you. It was the selling feature for us. But I remember that we were coming down to tell you guys that we had gotten down to, did I say 2?
Yes.
Okay, so we fly into Houston to come to the girls, and the girls are thinking that it's going to be them. Potentially, right? Like, you were hopeful.
Yes.
And we showed up as a team, and I sat in front of the two of you and said, we're down to 2, and we'll be making a decision in like a week or 2, right?
And we had, mind you, waited like 2 months because they were like, we're going to make a decision. So we were like, for sure, they're coming to tell us something. Why would they come down a second time?
So I'm sitting with them, and I tell them we're gonna make a decision in the next couple of weeks, and I could just see both of their smiles be really forced. Yeah, it was like a forced smile, because I could tell both of you were like, what the hell is he here for if it's not even us yet? But then I told them, psych, we've actually selected you, and we walked in with...
You got us really good.
I got
really
you pretty good. But then we walked in with what I've always wanted. When I was a kid, I always saw those price... Or what is it? Those like door-to-door, like big checks.
Mm-hmm. Publishing
clearinghouse check. So we walked in with one of those big checks. Saigon Hustle, $1 million and some balloons and stuff. And that was probably one of my more favorite experiences in my entire career.
Really?
Yeah. Just watching the two of you, just because I've been doing a lot of different entrepreneurial stuff throughout my whole career. And yeah, there's been big moments, but just to watch the two of you be as excited as we were, because I was truly excited. And so was Shauna and the team. That was a special moment. So.
We're pretty intuitive, right? So you did throw me off for a little bit.
We're intuitive other than that one moment.
But coming into that, we were like, because it was like, we're going to make a decision by X date. Well, this was X date. Okay. And then we get in there and we're talking, and then you were just kind of like, it's too hard. I can't make a decision yet. And literally we're like, yeah, something like, it's like very close and we're just not there yet and we need more time. And I was like, it's like a breakup, right? It's not you, it's me, or whatever. And I was like,
well, the funny thing is like,
it's not you, it's me.
I need more time.
Well, we kind of knew because you had CC'd a photographer, and then the next email,
where's the photographer?
You like took the photographer out, so we're like, surely we did get it.
Yeah.
Well, that was a fun moment, and you guys were obviously the winners of that. And I know that there were several other groups that were pretty bummed with me.
I know.
And we even got some emails from a couple people that were really bummed with me. I'm like, dude, it was not like a guaranteed $1 million. It's not like I was going millions of people like that. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
But so we partnered back then. It's taken some time too, because we went through this little phase the last year and a half of just absolute hell in this industry. Supply shortage, real estate's slow. It's hard to get to. And so now we're finally over that hump. And I feel like not only over the hump, we're like on the backside of that, where I don't think anything's going to stop us now. And it's really, really exciting with what we're going to do with this. So we've got our first store together collectively. That's in Spring Branch. Have to say the full thing.
Yes.
You do?
Spring Branch.
Spring's very different.
And growth is imminent for Saigon Hustle coming up. I feel like throughout Texas is definitely going to be a target for us. But boy, I think that if I don't put something up here in Utah, I think that the entire crew at Savory might walk out on me, just so you guys are aware of that. So we are already looking for sites in Utah, just so you know.
Oh,
But we
another
have-
surprise.
I don't know if we can find something as cool as the two first buildings, though. So we're going to have to
matter.
really work hard on
I'll take
making
freestanding drive-through.
Yeah, freestanding drive-through anyone.
Freestanding always.
That's right. So where are some other places that you guys envisioned in your head? Like, you know, what would be so cool for Saigon is if we could ever open up some stores here. Where would here be? What would some other places be fun? You guys talked about it a
Houston?
little bit?
Or
Well, anywhere.
Anywhere?
Where do you see your brand be?
Oh man. I mean, here for sure, but
I don't know. I've been drilled with economics too much
Economics.
to make it work.
Really? Yeah. No, kidding. No, listen, it has to work, right? Or you can't
Yeah.
scale something. But you guys have done a good job with that too.
Yeah.
Not only have you increased in sales, everybody else is fighting for sales. You guys have done such a great job over the last couple of years, really building your base. Your base is fantastic. What you do out of 850 square feet is mesmerizing as far as sales. But it's harder and harder, right, to get economics right.
It is. And so I think just having gone through partnering with you guys and learning that, it becomes a little less emotional of where we go versus how we do it and how far we can go, right? How many we can do, how much we can perfect this brand. So it really doesn't matter where we go as long as we can expand, you know, and it'll happen naturally. And wherever we go is going to be where it makes most sense. So the most exciting part is how many can we do? How many state lines can we cross where it makes sense? That's touching more people.
especially people who've never had Vietnamese food. Mm-hmm. It's always so exciting to see their reaction after they eat something.
I got to be honest. I remember when you guys brought me in the salmon bowl.
Yeah.
Oh my! I mean, where do you go to get a piece of salmon and something that's QSR drive-through? Mm-hmm. It was incredible. I'd eat that once a week, like now. Yeah. And where can you go to get that? And also for the price point that it was. So I think that the opportunities are pretty endless.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, this is a brand that could be like on, you know, in Manhattan, right? But it could also really pepper the Midwest and throw out like all of the flyover states where people, they want foreign flavors.
Yeah.
And that's something we've found is that a lot of these melting pot cities, like a Houston, LA would be another one. Atlanta's more of a melting pot than people, you know, realize. Miami.
Oh yeah, definitely.
We could go to those, but I really think that Americans are now wanting more foreign flavors. I think they're getting kind of tired of just French fries and burgers, right?
Yep.
Or pizza. And I have both those brands in my portfolio too. And it's that's ubiquitous. Everybody likes it. But I think people want something different. That's why I think
new
you guys
and
are poised.
exciting.
It's new and exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. What I think personally too, the thing that you guys have done a really good job with that I think is going to be key to our success is keeping it simple, right? Like having a simple menu, executing on a few really, really good items, but very, very well all the time, and seeing a Saigon Hustle and go, I know if I go there and get some spring rolls and I get a vermicelli bowl, it's going to be amazing. Do you guys feel the same way about just keeping it simple, or do you guys have all these ideas of what else we could add to it, or is it like this is it?
Keep it simple, because I think even when you look at some other brands, and a lot of people do like fusion food or trying to like do trendy food, and at the end of the day, I don't want that. I want something that's just generic and something that's authentic and really good and consistent. That's all I want. And so I think we do a really good job doing that.
Do you guys have anything else that you have not offered on the menu that you would want to offer on the menu, though? I mean, keep it simple, but is there something else that you're like, but we could add, well, pho. We're going to add pho.
I think pho is it.
And I think that that's something that people know, right? Most people that even if they don't know Vietnamese food, they're like, well, I like pho. And it's like, well, that's Vietnamese.
Yep.
So they have to make that correlation in their head, right?
Yep.
Is that edible inside a car as you're driving?
No, it's not, unfortunately.
Dang it.
I know. Because we thought about like, okay, what if we make this really cool soup pho? And I'm like, no, we don't want to encourage people to eat pho with chopsticks in the car while they're driving.
There'll be a caution sign on a sticker on it. Caution. Do not eat in car.
But if you could come up with a way to eat that in the car, that would be amazing.
It would be, you know what? One of my favorite things to eat is dry pho.
Yeah.
It's just like,
I've never had it.
It's so
good. Is it amazing?
It's so good because it's a special sauce.
I don't even know what that is. What are you saying to me? Dry pho.
Dry pho, yeah.
How does that work?
So basically you just boil the noodles and you eat it dry, but there's this amazing sauce that comes with it. And then they have like a, kind of like just a soup on the side where you just sip it and you eat it together.
No
it's
way.
It's the same ingredients.
So good.
Go.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
It's the same ingredients, just adding a sauce to the dry noodles, and the broth is still there. It's just on the side.
Dry pho. Would you eat that? Sounds amazing. Sure, why not? Let's go.
Yeah. It's
I
really good.
offer it just because I want to say that to people. You should eat some dry pho.
Oh my gosh. Next time we'll make that.
Okay.
We'll make that.
We're going to
so
probably have to try
it.
that.
Mm-hmm.
I totally forgot about it.
So market changes a lot, right?
Yeah.
People chase market conditions. People go, well, that's not popular. I'm going to do this. How do you guys balance like keeping Saigon Hustle in your mind, what it is, but then also make sure that you match market? Because market has moved around quite a bit the last couple of years. How are you guys saying, we're not going to follow that, we're just going to stick to who we are? Are you guys confident in that? And do you feel like that's going to be long lasting, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, we got to stick to what we do best at. And we are doing better every day with catering. We're getting more exposure through that and bigger and larger orders. The fun thing about Saigon is it's not going to get old for a while.
No.
You know, it's going to take a long time for this food, this brand to get old. It's still new to somebody every day. So I think
that's like almost a slogan. I kind of liked that.
it is.
I believe
it's
that.
an opportunity that we try to get at every day. Is who are we missing? Who haven't we touched yet?
Yeah.
There's
Which
so
is a
many.
lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot.
A lot.
So there's so much opportunity still left, you know, or for us. And so that's what we do every day. We're trying to find those opportunities of people we haven't touched yet.
And I think the main point too, selfishly, it's like, this is what we eat. This is how we eat every day. We don't mix other things in it. We don't try to reinvent the wheel. This is just something simple and classic that we enjoy with our families.
Yeah, it's so authentic to you. That's what I like about it too. It's like, well, we eat this. This is what we eat, and we're sharing it with you. And that's what Kimo and Kalani did with Mobetta. It's like, we're just sharing what we eat. This is
exactly.
This is clean, pure, simple, and they haven't done anything to expand on that.
Yep.
And it's worked out well.
Yeah.
Got
or
55
like
locations
even
now.
like our Vietnamese vinaigrette, right, which is our fish sauce. It's always like, you need to make it sweeter for the American palate or this and that. And I'm like, why?
No.
It's great the way it is.
Yeah.
It's just fine.
You just can't call it fish sauce.
Yeah. So
that was like the whole sweet and sour sauce. There's so many Vietnamese places who fail miserably at this sauce.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's too sticky or too sweet or too much sugar and it's thick. And I'm like, that's not fish sauce. Like, that's not, what is
that's
this?
not how we eat it at home.
I mean, and so I'm like, we cannot go down that path, you know?
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. I'm glad you guys don't call it fish sauce.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I think
Americans
people
would be
would-
like fish sauce.
Yeah.
Because you think like the slime off of a fish.
I mean,
That's what,
It's just not appetite. I
It's not
get it.
appetizing.
I get it.
I mean, it's actually fermented fish, but yeah, I mean, like those things are worse, but yeah.
That's even worse.
But what's amazing is, you know, we grew up with so many mom and pop places that we enjoy, right? And we've watched our older generation run restaurants, and obviously we're at a capacity where we don't run it like that. We're not in the kitchen every single day. We kind of operate on top. And so being able to scale at this capacity and being able to make the menu simple, easy to read, make it approachable, make the brand fun,
Yes.
the marketing aspect of it. There's so much of me and Cassie in there that no one has done. And so I do feel like we are the trailblazers for this because it just hasn't been done yet.
A decision that you made early on that most people have a real hard time understanding, Sandy, is what you just said. And that is working inside the business. Super hard to work on it, right? Yeah. And when I joined Shauna with our first restaurant, I sold our tech company, I was in it. We were in the business. And then we said, okay, if we want to scale this, we have to work on the business, even though you have to know it. Because when you're making decisions operationally or with a menu or whatever, you have to know what it's going to affect in the restaurant. So it's important that you work in it for a while, but then to scale it, you have to work on it. So it's nice to see that you guys have pulled yourselves out of it. And that's another thing that you have to do to keep something simple. And I think that you've done a really, really good job at that. How have you done culture? Because I feel like the people you do have now, you have some people that have been with you for a while now, and they're our future leaders with the brand, which is really fun and exciting to watch for me. I do this because I like to see people have great opportunity with these growing brands. What is culture to you, and how have you guys created a culture that you think is sticky? I think all founders want to know that better.
I think
you're like,
yeah, you go first. You go first.
Culture to me is giving everyone an opportunity that Sandy and I have gotten as well in life, right? And it's not a silver spoon. You have to work hard for it. But everyone does have the opportunity to succeed, whether on their own, whether with us, and we make room for that. And the reason why we don't sit in the restaurants every day and work it and trying to be on a, higher level of looking at the business is because we are making room for those people who are with us so that they have room to grow. They have room to make mistakes. And I work hand in hand all day, every day. I'm talking to them. I'm trying to help them be better people, make better decisions, make the decision, run with it, hire the right people. Every now and then I'll be like, this guy is not going to work. You need to do something about it, And they're like, no, Cassie, give me another 2 weeks with him. Let me see if I can make it work. And I'm like, okay,
So you trust them?
Yeah, I do.
You have to.
And I think they feel empowered. I think they're very excited, especially right now, opening the second one in less than 2 weeks. They're responsible. They're accountable right now more than ever. And I think they're excited because it is different for them too. It's not just the day-to-day. I open and close. I hire. I schedule. They're doing something different. Construction, coordinating of vendors. They love it. My team just recently did an amazing job with the contract with Cisco. And even Miriam was like, man,
that was a good job.
Y'all did that on your own? And we're like, yeah, I didn't. They did it.
Yeah.
They did it. And I was so proud of them. So happy. I won't let it down. I use them as an example against the others who are not stepping up to the plate. Like, watch what they did, And so I do want them to feel very included, very empowered, make decisions.
I think that's the beauty of where we're at because we're such an infancy stage that anybody that's with us, we're not some big corporation where everything is set in stone. We really listen to our staff and what they have to say and their input. So empowering them in that way to make decisions, I think is really important, an important part of the culture.
Man, you guys have made some great points. And I would say as a founder too, I always like to hear other founders how they do it. And some of the things that you pointed out that I totally agree with too, Cassie and Sandy, is empowering them to the point where they feel like they're part of it and that it's no longer a job. When people show up to their place of employment every day and they're like, oh my gosh, I got to work today. It's my job. They think that you've already lost them. Like there's no culture in their mind. But when you say they're excited about the opportunity they have ahead of them, it stops becoming a job and it actually becomes opportunity to grow and to experience. That's really fun to watch for team, isn't it?
It is. And it's
palpable too.
It is.
You can feel it.
For sure. And you let them make their mistakes. That's how they learn.
For sure.
I think that's the beauty of it, is seeing their progression as well.
I've said to people all the time, especially entrepreneurs, I know that it sounds crazy, but I always say 80% is 100%. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm like, if you're going to grow a company and you have people that work with you, you just say, I'm going to let you make the decision. And it sounds like the team did a really good job on the contract, but let's just say they did 80% as good as you could have. You still have to say 100% awesome, good job. because you'll never expand anything if you expect 100% execution on every front, because people just can't do that. And when people know that they can make mistakes and it's still going to be okay because we're learning together, that's my idea.
As long as you don't
culture.
repeat those mistakes.
Yeah, no. I'm not saying repeat. I'm saying if you do that, you're still okay with it.
Because then that's when it's a problem.
So the thing that's been interesting to me too is that in this industry, as we've looked at a couple thousand probably brands by now, is how many partners there are in this industry, where there's friends, brothers, husband, wife. It seems like there's always two, if not three.
There has to be.
Yeah. Oh, that's an interesting comment. Tell me why.
It's tough. I mean, it's tough to wear all the hats. I mean, HR, the cook, the accountant, the marketer, the social media person. There's just so many hats. Like, what I can't do, she does extremely well. What she can't do, I can do extremely well. So it really works because we balance each other out. And if I didn't have her, there would be no Saigon Hustle. I mean, 100%. I mean, it's...
Cassie, damn.
Hell yeah.
Yes, you know what the cool thing is too, is we actually have that on, it's recorded.
Yeah.
So now later on you can say, see what you said about me one time.
But it's true. Like, I hate doing HR stuff, honestly. She's so good at it. She's really, really good at reading people and working with people. And then she's a chef, amazing cook on top of that. So.
What would you add to that? That's like almost like a drop the mic moment.
I think.
And she navigates really tough, hard conversations. And I'm always like, mic drop. How did she just do that?
You're just standing behind her going, yeah.
Yes, I'm your cheerleader.
Having Sandy is, there are very low lows in this industry. And if you can't take it, you really can't do it, and if you can't work through it and navigate through it, it's not for everyone. It could tear you apart. It could break you entirely. So it's in those lowest moments where she's always smiling. And I'm like, really? You could forget about what just happened and really move on with your day. And it still eats at me. I can be present for my kids, but she really can be present in the next moment.
I'm glad you said that, because I've actually always seen that and noticed that about her. And I'm like, I got to be that way. It's a talent.
I always say her house could be burning down and she'd be smiling.
Just smiling. That's okay. We're alive.
Yeah, we're good.
It's fine. We're still healthy.
It would probably go down, and she'd be like, she made already the call she needed to make to make sure the house was fine, and she'd probably be out to dinner in 2 hours, and come back to it the next day. Whatever it is, she's always smiling. I'm not always. I'm very tough on the team and everyone, and she's always smiling through it. And even in the lowest times, I'm like, why are we in this position, right? And she's like, we'll get through it. We'll work through it. And so, I couldn't do this. I couldn't be low by myself. I couldn't.
I could not be low by myself. I just love how you kicked this off, though. And you just kind of brought it up. I was going to ask, how do you deal with conflict? Because as you guys know, I work with my wife.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh,
right?
Yeah. See, me and my husband could not.
You couldn't? Okay.
No, we tried. We almost did not make it.
Shaking your heads like, no.
We almost didn't make it.
Yeah. So Sean and I have been able to figure out how to do it, and we know how we resolve conflict. And it's not a perfect science, but we've worked on how do you resolve conflict between partners. We really try to say this is business and then this is life, but we also believe that it's just called life. Mm-hmm. They're both the same, but we just know when there's you know what? Let's not talk about business anymore. Let's just be husband and wife right now.
And we do that all the time. We'll have a heated conversation about work, and then all of a sudden okay, what are we eating for dinner with the kids? And we'll just turn it around.
So that's what I was going to ask you guys, though, is how have you been able to deal with conflict, and what is kind of your go-to process of dealing with conflict? Because it's part of being a partner. It
is, but I mean, I can't even tell you that it's that heated. Literally.
Because she's always smiling.
Yeah, or what happens is it happens all the time. I have a different way of working through a process, and I talk through it, and I'll go in circles, and then I'll end up right where we started and be like, oh yeah, good idea. And she'll sit there and she'll let me do it. And it's my head's spinning.
I have to let her do it because, and I already know the answer, but she will not take my word for it.
She's got to go through her own process.
She's got to go through the process, and then when she's like, oh yeah, I'm like, okay.
And I don't really think we're always
You're already there.
We do.
I'm already there.
I'll just wait for her.
And in those times, I don't think it's that we're heated at each other. We're heated at the moment.
At the moment, the situation, the issue.
Yeah. And so it's not at each other. It's like, how are we going to get through this? And then we strategize and we get through it. And again,
I think at the end of the day, any conflict that we have, we're on the same team, right? We're on we own this brand together. We both want this to work. So whatever it is that we need to get through, it's the same. We have the same common goal.
Yeah.
I mean,
do you both include team members right now? Like some of the senior guys that you have around you, are they a part of your conversations already?
Oh, 100%.
You guys do that with them.
It's the only way they understand where we're coming from every day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We used to shield them, but in this point of growth and opening the new store and not enough time in a day, everyone needs to know what's happening. And because it's, for me, the time I can delegate, right? Instead of having a conversation here, leaving them out of it, having to go find them, call them, whatever it is, like I can just do it all in one shot if we're sitting together, going through everything. I start delegating once and for all, I'm not chasing people. So no, they are all included, those who need to be, and so that we can divide and conquer.
I think that it's all
exciting.
Oh, for sure it does. And I think that that's part of the whole culture that you build too, is if you're transparent. If there's this culture of transparency, people lean in, right? Like they're like, oh, I got you, Sandy. I'll help with that. If I know what's going on and I know the full story. So I think it's important to always include the team.
Yeah.
There's some conversations you have to keep alone,
right,
separate. But I would say 90% of the conversations I have in Savory, I tell everybody everything.
Yeah.
And guess what? They go, I want to help solve that problem.
Yeah.
And you have full buy-in from people. So I think that's really, really important as well. How do you stay motivated, each of you, individually? Like not leaning on each other, but how do you wake up and go, I can do this? Got all the boys I got to take care of. I got to run these errands and I got to build a business. How do you stay motivated?
It's the balance. It's definitely the balance for sure.
Yeah,
and knowing hey, what's the next vacation? Because I need a break.
It doesn't.
She just nods. Yep,
it doesn't take a lot to recharge or re-energize us. Like it's the small things that we could be like, oh, okay, you could have gone through a bad day. We're foodies. I mean, take me to go dinner, I want to eat good food. I'm tired of cooking all the time. I cook every day for my kids and in their, so the small things make us happy, and actually just that little happy belly. I'm let's go
Feed the girl, she's happy.
To the next day, right?
Seriously.
The kids keep me going right now. School's back in action. I am like that soccer mom meme you see on Instagram. That it drives me. I need 2 hours to decompress after a game. I'm so into it. In that moment,
she has so much adrenaline.
Yeah,
she's
in that
swollen.
moment, I'm like, I forgot about everything. I'm so into my kids in that moment. We travel every now and then. We want a 2-day, 3-day trip. Sometimes with the hubby, sometimes just Sandy and I and friends, and you'll see it, and even on our personal Instagram. We come back a different person. We're recharged, or satisfied, right? I'm satisfied. I got to go. I got to get away. I got to sleep in past 6:30.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You sleep till 7:30. You feel like a queen, probably, right?
And we come back and we know what we're heading into, and we're heading into opening the second store, and we're going to stay put for a while. So we got it all in.
Yeah, that's good. Mm-hmm. I was going to say, I always tell people to, this whole business is about chopping wood and carrying water, and chopping wood and carrying water every day. You got to do that or it doesn't work. And I always tell people, you got to go on a vacation. You got to decompress. You got to get away from it and sharpen your saw.
Yeah.
Because if you do, you'll chop more wood and you'll carry more water much easier if you sharpen your saw. And I'll tell you right now, there are several times that I have watched your trips and I'm like, they know how to sharpen that saw. I gotta be honest.
We pack it all in.
I want to go on one of those trips with you as just the bellboy and just be part of it because it looks so fun. The places you go, the places you eat, and yeah, you guys know how to sharpen that saw.
Yeah, that's the fun part.
We do.
What is the future of Saigon? What are you guys excited about the most over the next year and then 2 years? I want to know what your thoughts are. What's the most exciting part of it? And growth that's inevitable. We want to see growth, but what's the most exciting parts of that journey that you're excited about as founders?
Oh man, just I guess expanding into new markets really, and exposing people to Vietnamese food, and really dominating Houston. I'm excited about that too.
Yeah.
for me, Houston is home. So
Houston is huge.
It's huge.
It's huge. It's like a country.
You drive 2 hours, you still be in Houston. It's like, my God.
It's so big. I think that people that don't know Houston, if you go there and you land, you could literally drive around for 2-3 days and not get around the whole city.
Yeah.
Because I've done it before. It's crazy. What about you?
I think finally moving into this partnership with Savory, opening the restaurant together, doing it together, we couldn't have done it. We could not grow at the speed at which we want to grow without this partnership. And so it was untouchable, something that it would take us forever to get to a year ago, 2 years ago, right? So looking into a year ahead to 2 years ahead, where we have access to do it now, and I think that's huge for us. Being able to make this a reality is what I'm most excited about.
Well, I'm excited about the same. I think about the journey that I've been on with past brands and founders as well. Some that are bigger than yours and some that are like at the same size and kind of starting to grow too. And for me, the most exciting part is just the journey of growth and learning of what the brand can be, right? And I think people would think that Swig, for instance, just up and to the right was perfect. It was a perfect journey. It wasn't. There were several times where I remember sitting around a table going, oh shit, now what do we do? Because this didn't work. This isn't working. Costs are out of control. You got to just keep fine-tuning and figuring it out. And the crazy thing is that when you go through those moments and then you get to the backside of that, you're like, oh my gosh, we figured it out. That is so fun for the team, for me, for the partners. And then you go and you hit another inflection point. You're like, oh crap, now what do we do? It's like, it's a constant journey of learning and figuring out all that it can be. That's what excites me the most. And I will tell you, the thing that drives me and has always driven me is doing it with well-deserved and deserving founders like yourselves. That I'd love to see your dream come true. It's really fun to see others that we're doing that with right now, because they see how hard it is and how hard the team's going to work together to get Saigon Hustle to take over Houston and be into new states. It's going to be one hell of a journey. It's going to be a lot of work, but I promise you it's going to be fun.
Oh, we have fun doing it. That's for sure.
We do.
It's a high for us. So
and we got to get your boys ready because we're going to put them to work too.
Oh yeah. Trust me. As soon as they're tall enough to hit the register and like start doing
you only ask for the next 1 to 2 years. Ultimately, it is building a legacy for them.
For sure.
I mean, you didn't ask that part, but for me, that is why we're doing this. Why we want to grow it. And expand and build this huge brand nationally, internationally, whatever it takes us. That's what we're here for. It's for the kids.
I'm
for our
surprised she
family.
hasn't said it, just like Panda Express.
I'm trying to keep it out of my mouth.
No, but listen, I think that the flavor segment is so untapped though, that what you're saying, it's crazy not to say it because nobody's doing it. So why can't it be us? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that it's a flavor profile that people will start eating and go, holy crap, I did not know how enjoyable it is and that I can get it through a drive-thru now and I can be on the go and have another option. I don't think people understand how incredible the flavor segment is. It's really enjoyable. So we're going to go conquer the world with Saigon Hustle, and I'm excited to do it with the two of you. Thanks for joining me today on Restaurantology Podcast. I hope that everybody that listens today will go to Spring Branch or... the first one,
Garden Oaks.
I always want to say Houston Heights. That's why I always say that, though, because it's kind of...
It's close to the Heights.
It's close.
Yeah,
so Garden Heights. But
we're north
one.
of the Heights.
And then we have stores 3 and 4 that we're trying to get that damn LOI signed. And then once that signs, we'll get to the next ones. But stay tuned for a Saigon Hustle near you. Yeah. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.